Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of the EmpowerMAN podcast. You know, I say this every time we air, but every episode that we do is very special. It is a very stormy night here in South Florida. We've had thunderstorms all day, thunder and lightning, which is actually pretty cool because, I don't mind it. It's kind of cool. But speaking of thunder and lightning, what I'm looking at right now across from me on this screen, this guy personifies thunder and lightning. He is the calm before the storm. He is the patriot, the parent, the friend, the brother, the co-host, and more importantly, the mentor. That's right. I'm throwing a new adjective in there. The mentor. He is the mentor. He is a mentalist. He is very cerebral. He is a poet that knows it. He is a master of the English language. The guy can verbally abuse you from one way to the next, but in a loving way. Greg A. Tador, number one. Greggy T, sir, how the heck are you on this beautiful Thursday night?
I'm pretty good, man, and it is actually a really beautiful night up here in Connecticut. Can't hate. It's probably in the low 70s. It's nice. So can't complain right now.
Well, you can't complain right now. But
I could, but it wouldn't get me anywhere. So it wouldn't help the situations.
And actually complaining is a waste of time. When you really think about it, like, we sit around and be like, oh, I'm so tired, or I'm this or that. I mean, which we are, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, you know what? Like, I'm tired for a good reason, because I'm either with my family or with, something I enjoy doing or whatnot. I mean, a lot of people are homeless. A lot of people don't have the luxury of doing what they enjoy. People live out of fear instead of, obligate. They live out of fear and obligation instead of passion and purpose. And you and I, we are able to fulfill our passions, and we know you're passionate about your girls, you're passionate about your career, family first. And, it's really cool that, you live those values, and hopefully it permeates throughout other parts of society. And Greggy T, before we get any further into this episode, I want to give a shout out to our policemen and women, our firemen and women, our EMTs, our first responders. Thank you for always keeping our local cities, counties, municipalities safe and sound.
Absolutely, as always. And thank you to all the military personnel here and overseas, and to all the contractors out there doing those special missions, to my boy who is somewhere in Southeast Asia. Be careful, and see you when you get back.
Yes, absolutely. And, we talk about, earlier we talked about fear and obligation. And, with so much turmoil and strife going on in the world, a lot of men, they feel paralyzed, because it's like, what am I going to do with my 401k? What am I going to do if we have new laws coming down the pike that kind of handcuff us from stepping into that American dream? Unfortunately, to be a pessimist, I feel that the American dream is on life support right now. I do. I think the American dream is
it's right
really
there.
Slowly. Yeah,
it's right there.
What are your thoughts on that, Greg? I mean, do you think that the American dream could be revived? Is the American dream still something that is believable? Is it a myth? Is it something that was stereotyped? Is it pigeonholed? Do you really believe, Greg, that men and women of all shapes and sizes and backgrounds, do you really believe that the American dream exists in 2024?
So it's always been a real thing, in my opinion. The American dream is real. It's always been real. I still think it's possible now. It's just the landscape's changed so much. It's different. So it's not the stereotypical American dream from back in the day. It's more different, where maybe a young kid doesn't have to go to school and they can go on social media and make a ton of money. Technically, that's a slice of the American dream, because people always talk about money and success and all that. Is it still possible? Yes, it is. I just think that it's changed so much that it's very different for our generation, or guys our age and girls our age. And I just think, is it still possible? Yes, it is. It's just nothing that I'm familiar with, or most of it I don't even want to be a part of. My American dream has differed over the years as I've gotten older, and it's which is fine. It's everyone's prerogative, but it's definitely getting harder to do the American dream because more hurdles and speed bumps are being put in place that people don't want to take the time to learn or read up upon, whether it be taxes or state federal income taxes, or even the capital gains, and then unrecognized gains you're taxed on, so it's like you're double tax. All these things just chip away more and more at the old school American dream, and some of the younger people don't know about it, so they don't necessarily care. So it's not really an issue to them just because it's not their norm. It is their norm. I mean, it's completely out of left field for guys like us. But to them, it's like just that's how it is. They never knew any different.
Why do you think they don't know about the old school American dream? Like, why do you think
Well, they're
they don't
young.
know about it?
They're young, and it's not even their fault. They're not taught it,
Right.
and it's just a history lesson, or it's just something they read about in the past, like whatever.
Mm.
And so it's not. And listen, I give them credit. They don't dwell on it. They might read it, okay, but this is how it is today in this day and age. So I'm focusing on that, and potentially in the future, they don't really care about the past. When something doesn't directly affect somebody, I don't think they give it too much time of day, and they don't let it marinate in their brain. History is history. You can learn a lot from history, obviously. That's why they say that. But a lot of this modern generation, they don't want to hear it. And I understand it to a point. But when things see, this is going totally off topic. To a young kid nowadays, is the economy bad? No, because they don't know it. They've never seen the ups and the downs, the ups and the downs. They don't have anything to compare it to. So this is normal for them, in my opinion. And were you better off 4 years ago? They didn't have somebody coming out of college, you don't have any responsibility. So it doesn't matter. 4 years ago, yeah, it's fine. It's fine because they have nothing to tangibly to compare it to. If they are older and were successful back then and can see how the laws and all the taxes and all the stuff are now, I would put money on they would think differently.
Do you think the entitlement that has been bestowed upon this generation kind of dilutes their understanding of the American dream?
I mean, I think it's a part of it. Yeah, the entitlement is a whole jar full of issues. You have to earn entitlement where we're from. You don't just get it. Like earn respect, same thing. Like I understand respect your elders, but I also take that not fully. You got to earn my respect. I don't care how young you are or how old you are. And like the OnlyFan things with the girls, it's a whole generation now. And I don't mean generation, mean like young people, because there's people our age, older, they all do it. And it's just like, I don't, they make a lot of money. I get it. And they call it content, but we all know what it is.
Of course.
But it's like everybody's doing it. It's like super saturated. And it's the guy's fault because they're giving it airtime and platform. I don't understand. I
Yeah.
don't, I don't get it.
Well, I think it's a couple things, right? With the OnlyFans, I think because during the pandemic, and I think OnlyFans probably just was created in or around that time. If there's anyone out there who's an OnlyFans expert, please correct me because I'm just speaking
No.
hyperbole and just what I feel. But I feel when the pandemic hit and we were all distanced and separated, unless you were living with someone or had a family or whatnot, but when you were alone and isolated, you crave connection. And I think OnlyFans exploits those individuals that lack connection. They lack intimacy. They lack that human element that they're not getting. So when you look at an OnlyFans or you look at something like that, and you see, especially as a guy, you see someone with naked pictures, you take it for what it's worth.
Mhm.
You feel a connection to that performer or that content. And what when people buy stuff, especially in sales, some people buy out of emotion, right? They buy out of feeling and emotion instead of like thought, practicality. Practically, when we talk about it in this realm, paying $30 a month for a subscription to see a girl's, or a guy, whatever your preference is, to see naked pictures of someone, that might be an emotional purchase. Not like, why would I spend $30 to see a girl in a thong when I can go to a bar and get the real thing and take it home with me if I wanted to,
I don't understand that.
right?
I don't get it.
It exploits. I believe it exploits those inner, that segment of the population out there that lack that intimacy, that lack that connection. And look, pornography is a big business, man. Pornhub is worth what, 40 billion? Some in the billions. It's $1 billion company.
Mm-hmm.
Think about when we were younger, right? As men, going through those, pre-adolescent stages where we're starting to figure things out. And look, we used to get the Playboy channel, right? When the Playboy channel came out, you could see it for 30 minutes, and then it got, and you're sitting there like looking at, like, you're listening to the sounds, right? And you're trying to look through like the scramble, right? So, and the funny story, not to go off topic. Telemundo was amazing. But you remember when, we're going to really show our age now, but we had the Playboy channel, we had the Spice Network. I don't know if you got Spice Network down in Westchester. And they would have like a QVC for like adult toys. And they had this thing called the Turtle. And it's strapped on, and the head would go in and out of the shell. And it had different speeds. And then, like, after that was off, then it was a movie, and you couldn't see it, and you had to pay for it, right? But, when you're trying to figure stuff out and you got the testosterone raging, you look for anything to kind of, I think as men, we're obviously different women when it comes to our sexual stuff, but, it's just interesting. So, yeah, I think, not to get back on topic there, I think OnlyFans does that. But I think OnlyFans, and I'm going to tie this into the American dream here, we call America life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, right? Land of the free, home of the brave, home because of the brave. But when we were growing up, the American dream was, being independent, buying a home, starting a family, having that life. Do you think the American dream is and was taken for granted?
I don't think it was taken for granted, but I think it was I'm trying to find the right words. Not taken for granted, but I think it was almost just assumed it was going to happen. It'll be there. It's there for everybody. It'll just, like, it's just going to happen. That's what I think. It's like an automatic. It's automatically going to happen.
I totally agree with you, man.
Yeah.
And what did Ronnie Reagan say? He said, democracy is one generation away from becoming extinct, or something along those lines, paraphrasing. But he said that in his last address in the Oval Office in 1989. He said that. And here we are with the biggest election of our lifetime, 2 months away?
Yeah.
So it's an interesting concept. But let's break this down even further, right? Like, what is you said the American dream means something different to you now than what it is before.
Yeah.
What does the American dream mean to you?
Now it just means, family, friends, happiness, and when I mean security, I mean financially secure, but I don't have to be an uber, filthy, wealthy person. Secure meaning safety and like a calmness over my family community. That's what I mean when I say that, not monetarily. The American dream is being mobile enough to buy something that you want or go somewhere that you want, not ask permission, not have all these laws and weird things being shoved at you. Just freedom, but literally ultimate freedom. Like, just leave me alone. I'm a law-abiding citizen, but leave me the fuck alone. Like, don't push. That to me is like an American dream now. Back in the day, I cared about like money and this and that. It's not, that's doesn't mean what it does anymore to me. I just want the flexibility to go where I want, when I want, how I want. And I'll go within the laws of wherever state I'm in, but I don't want to be under a microscope for something that I think is ridiculous.
But I mean, can you have this life in other countries like Italy or Greece or
I
Japan
don't know. I have
or
no idea. I don't know
China
those
or
other
England?
countries.
I mean,
China, no. Those countries, no. I don't know
really?
anything. I mean,
I thought China was like the land of the no. It's,
why don't you ask your boy LeBron? Whatever. Um, I don't know about those other countries. I mean, I visited some of the ones you named. I don't know how it is to live there, but I still think we're the best country. We have the we have the ability to be the best country by far with nobody even close to us. We're just not we're not united enough as a people to do that. It's like having the best talent on a team. Pick a sport, I don't give a shit. You have the best of the best in every position, but you just can't win a game because you're not coming together. That's how I look at it. We have the best shit. Technology, we have smart people and doctors and medical stuff, and we have everything at our fingertips. We just can't come together and just do it as one. We would be completely unstoppable if we actually were all patriots for this country. We would leave the whole world in our dust. It's just sad because it'll never happen. It will never happen. I'll say it.
yeah,
There's more money in divide than together.
yeah.
But I'm talking about success as a nation. We have the ability. We don't do it.
Right. I guess my next question to you is if the American dream, like we feel it's on life support because we've experienced a lot in the first
Mm-hmm.
part of our life. But you wonder like why, you know, why the borders are open, why people are coming here in droves, right? Why is it that everyone wants to come to America for a better life? It's like if the American dream is on life support or it's being so handcuffed, why are people still coming here? I mean, how we what I mean, definitely more than I would say, and I'm not, and I'm sure I'll get fact checked, which is fine. There's got to be at least 10 million people from the 2021 till now that have crossed our border in hopes of a better life, dying. People have died to get here for a better life. So, my question to
People are
you is
throwing babies over walls to get here. What's the
crazy, right?
question? It is, but those countries are the fucking worst. Those countries are bad news. So yeah, I would do it too if I was from there or trying to get out of there. Those people don't understand. Those countries don't play any games. There's no due process. There's no, oh, how do you feel about that? It's either our way or they'll kill you. That still happens. It's barbaric in most countries outside of the US. That's reality. I have friends that go to all across the world, different countries. It is a fucking dangerous place when you leave here. They are always happy to be home for a reason. So things are getting worse here. They're not great, but they're still light years ahead of some of these other countries.
Isn't that crazy? You think
Yeah, but
about it.
and people complain about things like, oh, you can't call me that name or you can't say those words to me. Toxic masculinity. Good luck. You're not making it. You're dead in a couple days in these places. If that, they just don't understand. And you know what? I don't even blame them because it's like fantasy to them. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, that's just there's no way that's true. When you talk to somebody that's been boots on the ground there for a long time and they've seen some of the worst things that a human can see, sorry, that happens. They didn't make that up. They're not traumatized or in therapy for no reason. And thank God for people like that.
Right. Yeah. And I think people realize too, like the American dream, you said having freedom is part of it. The freedom to express yourself, to be openly, you know, free to be who you are, whatever you
Stop the
want to be.
sentence right there. Most of the world, that's not allowed.
Nope.
Period. It's not even open for discussion. They will kill you and they'll wipe out your family. That's how the humans always have done that going back to time.
Sure.
Like people think that's not extreme. That's actually
Sure.
normal.
Normal.
Like the cartels do it, and the Middle East, they do that. That's what they do. They take out the bloodline. They do it in Africa all the time. So stop the sentence right there. You're not free to be who you are. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
No one understands that.
And we talked about in our last episode about pure good versus pure evil, and how evil is now considered good and good's considered evil now. I mean, in some circumstances, right?
Well, at least that's what is portrayed.
Right.
Who
I
knows? I
mean,
don't trust it. It's hard to trust anybody at this point.
I think with the advent and the immersion of reality TV into our society, the reality gets blurred. Therefore, people's perceptions of what is good and evil gets blurred.
Yeah.
And the American dream, I think to a lot of people, again, we talked about freedom of being able to be openly religious,
Mhm.
because you see what's going on in the world, and there's a big, war.
World's always
Or
been like that, though, with religion. People have been
yeah,
killing each other over religion since the beginning of time. I think that'll always continue. It's always been like that. I'm not saying it's right. It's
no.
always been there. It's
Well,
always.
I think the alarming thing is in America to see the amount of angst towards certain religious sects, and we saw it with Muslims, we saw it with, we're seeing it now more prevalent with Jews and Jewish people and whatnot, and even a war on Christians. You're seeing that, and I think, again, one thing we take for granted with the American dream, no matter where you come from, that you have the freedom to practice Buddhism, being Muslim, being Jewish, being
Mhm.
Christian. And you don't get that in other countries. Is that fair to say? I mean, is it pretty?
Yeah, you definitely don't. Or if you do, it's probably going to be a problem, or you're going to have to fight or defend yourself, and there's just always issues. You have people over here that are speaking up for a cause. Most of them just want to make noise because they're bored or they have nothing else to do. But if they actually got educated on whatever they're talking about, or whatever part of the world they're talking about, most of them really wouldn't do that, if I had to guess, because they just do it to do it, and to make noise, and to stomp their feet, and just, I don't know, go do something constructive, please. But before you do, that's fine. Just educate yourself, please. Talk to people that live there, that are from there, that have been through it. Then, if you still want to do it, by all means. But at least go fully prepared with facts and knowledge. I have no problem with that. But don't just do it and you don't know anything about it.
Right.
You look like an idiot. But I don't know.
Well, Greg, being in 2024, you being a parent, the American dream for you, obviously, you've been able to have a family, which is awesome, right? That's, I think, ultimately everybody wants that type of, life for themselves, and obviously with your career and all the accolades and success you've achieved. Um, do you think in 2024 that type of American dream, how is it the same and how is it differed?
Well, it seems to me like more and more families are breaking apart. I mean, you and I have a lot of friends. It's happening across the board. And so I think something's going on there. I don't know what. But so the American dream, I think, has shifted. I don't think it's like family heavy focus like it was back in the day. I wish it was. But people's versions and visions of how a family should be are different now. You and I were talking about this before we started. I don't know what happened. I know it's social media, and it's a lot of these, I'll call them influencers, or people that, whatever, that have really deteriorated morals in women, because we deal with women, men too, but I'm not talking about that right now. And I think people that have mental disorders that they don't know of, they take that's real, and it's not scripted, and it's not television, it's pure entertainment, and then they let it creep in their lives, and you start hanging out with people like-minded people, and then that's now it's infiltrated there, and morals have now shifted, and the groups get bigger and bigger, and now you have a whole bunch of different people with different familial values, and it's a mess. So that part of the American dream, I think, is completely changed. I don't think it's family focused. And a lot of people that say that, oh, I'm all about family, they're marks. They just say it for the optics. They want to look a certain way. They want to appear a certain way, but they don't want to do it. A lot of people have kids nowadays because they think they're like those trendy little dogs back in the day that you could put in a bag. And it's cute to see and put dresses on it and dress it up. You still have to take care of it. It's a life. You should still want to take care of it. It's a life. But they look at it as an accessory now, not as an obligation or to be a parent.
Yeah. And
That part of the American dream, I
yeah.
think, is a lot different now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, I guess the visions of the white picket fences we used to see, I mean,
Yeah.
we'd see that and the neighbors, everybody got along. And,
Yeah.
I think being able to be,
Hmm.
it's like the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But do you feel nowadays that people don't know what their happiness is because they feel like people are dictating what's supposed to make them happy?
Well, I think the people that are tuned in think that they're being told what to do or think or say. But the people that are just naive, and we say sheep or whatever, people don't like that word, but people that just follow and don't know any better, they're not going to say that. They're just gonna be like, oh, well, okay, I'll just go with what they say. Like, trust the government, I'll do whatever. It's a lot of the military stuff's starting to get exposed from the top down, that things have gone on, like the GWAT, the global war on terror, and we've been at this war for 20 something years now, and the military, industrial complex, as they call it, it's all a machine to make money. And it's a lot of the guys that have suffered and made the ultimate sacrifice and come back, and they survive the most fucked up shit only to come back to kill themselves or watch their friends kill themselves. It's all because a lot of the trust from the top down is lost now, but it's being lost for a good reason, because all these things are coming out, all these facts of why were we really there, what was the point of that. I told you in the last episode, I not a fan of Saddam Hussein. And the guy was definitely a bad dude, but man, he stuck to his guns, and in trial just mouthed off to the judge he didn't care. He took it all the way. My point is, we probably shouldn't have been there. We just had the backing of a country at the right time for us to go and push into things and create. I mean, we create cities in these countries. We Bagram Airfield is the largest base, I think, on the planet. The runway's 9 feet thick to accommodate the huge cargo jets that are coming in, the C-17s, the big cargo planes.
Mm.
We can build all that, right? Build out cities with infrastructure and sanitation and a power grid, but we can't shut our own borders. We build fucking cities in the middle of a desert, but we can't just shut a wall or make a wall or just shut our border or police our border. Come on, man. No way. It's crazy. Think about that. It is not that hard.
Let's Hold on, let me take a deep breath. Okay.
We
I
build
get it.
cities in every other country with walls you can't penetrate, but we can't do that in our own country. That's bullshit. That's
Well,
bullshit.
let's look at some of these cities like Flint, Michigan, with their water. And I look at Baltimore. Baltimore is a great city. If you go down by Pimlico Racecourse, there you can't. It's unlivable. I remember seeing trash piled up. They didn't pick up trash because who wants to pick it up? The neighborhood's so disastrous. Nobody should live, and I agree with you. Nobody in America should live like that. If you can build cities, you can go and you can rebuild some of these great these great cities all in our country. But like you
Mhm.
said, where's the money?
Yeah. And if you want to, I don't want to say remove those homeless people, that's looked at as that's mean. You can't say that. Blah blah blah. So it's there's a lot of layers where it's very difficult because the it looks cruel. Or but look what they did in France for the Olympics. They clean the area up months before the cameras get there for the Olympics.
It's all optics. Yeah.
They literally look what they did in San Francisco when fucking China came to visit. They like street sweeped fucking blocks to make it look awesome. They got rid of the homeless in like 3 days. A good friend of mine lives there. They got rid of the homeless in 3 fucking days. I don't know where they put them, but they went
Brooklyn.
somewhere
They're
and it
Brooklyn.
looked great. They cleaned it, power washed buildings, graffiti, painted it in fucking like 2 weeks. It looked awesome just for a visit from a foreign country who's actually our enemy. What? I'm sorry, I'm not crazy. What the fuck is that? What is that about? Who allows this? It can be done. It took 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. No one wants to talk about that.
Maybe your friend, the mayor of Tempe, when he comes on again, our friend Corey could answer some of those questions. A little foreshadowing for the future.
I'd
But you're
love to
right.
ask him. I'd love to
You're
ask
right.
him.
Because I mean, again, we're just speaking. It's not even Republican or Democrat
No,
speaking.
no, no,
It's
no, no.
common
This is
sense.
nothing political.
This is common sense,
This is American
right?
only. I don't care what party. I don't really care what you believe in
Yeah,
either. It's just you should want the best in your country, period.
yeah,
Period. That's it.
yeah, man. I
I don't care. I
I, I
don't care
agree.
who you vote for. If your city's shit, you should care about your city.
But I think the thing too with the American dream and why it's on life support is that you're seeing a huge segment of our population that they don't love our country. It's frowned upon to have an American flag. I mean, not down in Florida, right? I mean, but in other parts of the country, to have an American flag or
Mhm,
to Flag Day. Growing up, remember Flag Day would be huge. It
mhm,
was a big celebration. Now Flag Day has been so misinterpreted and so portrayed as something that it's not. And
mhm.
they look at us. I mean, you and I are considered like middle age now. We're considered older,
I'm old. I'm just old.
right? Well, I feel it in my joints and stuff like that, and obviously, I
Mhm.
feel it all over. And it's that like we talked about earlier with the colonoscopy that I'd be getting next month, and
Have fun with
I can live stream that if everybody wants to. No, I'm kidding,
that.
kidding. But anyway, I feel like those holidays were
Girls would on OnlyFans. They probably make a killer doing that.
viewing
Just
of
saying.
what a live colonoscopy viewing.
A girl would do that and make a ton of money. Just
Yeah,
saying.
I'm
Just
sure
saying.
there are some people out there that would pay for it, but
Of course. Of course.
not my thing, man. Not
Mhm.
my thing. But I also ask a question. How can a guy, in this world right now, you get out of college. So we'll break this down, right? You get out of college and you think you're going to get a job, but the challenges people face now versus when we were in college, I would say it's probably a little bit easier to get a job when we were in college versus now to get a
I would
job,
agree with that.
right? So, how can a guy live his full potential with the state of the world um, the way it is? Like, what are the keys to guys living their full potential in the world that we live in right now as of August 29th, 2024?
The only thing I would say is if you're in school, study something that you actually like and are passionate about and go for a job in that field. But outside of that is just try to find your people that have like the same ideas, or thoughts or morals, or at least as close to your morals as possible, that's what I would say. To at least you can live somewhat of a happier life with your people. Because rewind what we were just talking about, no one back in the day that I know of, besides Corey, cared about politics. Nobody. Like no one talked about it. It was not like it is now. All of a sudden, everybody's into fucking politics now. Everybody has an opinion. Everyone wants to say what you should think or vote or whatever. Back in the day, and I'm not even talking that long ago. Maybe, well, it is now for us because we're older. But in our 20s and 30s, no one talked about politics. It was very bare minimum. Bare minimum. They talked about during like election time. Outside of that, no one gave a shit. No one could name any a senator. No one fucking knew anything. But during that time where no one knew anything, people started infiltrating. They ran local. They won because it's all under the radar. No one gives a shit, and people really don't care about local. And then local becomes state. No one still really cares. It's a little bit more at stake, but no one's really caring. And then they become federal. Now they're at the federal level. They creeped in all this time. No one give a shit about politics. Now people care. It's almost too late because you have all these people now that mucked up the works, have all these, like you say, anti-American ideas or whatever. They're already there. They ain't going anywhere now. And now they have the platform to spew their shit. Now mix it with the people that get their news from social media. What a great equation that is for that agenda. It's beautiful. What a great plan. And that's where we're at now. And that's why everyone's like, how did we get here? That's exactly how we got here. Because no one used to give a shit. People slid in under the radar and now they're here. People like fucking AOC, that girl will be here for a long time. And she's an idiot. But you know what? She's already there. Good luck getting rid of her. She slid right in there. And she knows what buttons to press in the environment out there now to get a huge calling and a huge fan base. It's a joke, but it's not a joke because that's reality now. And now I got to hear her talking on TV or giving her fucking useless opinion on something where she couldn't find her way out of a paper bag. You're going to trust her with your money, your freedom, and your security? You're out of your mind. Sorry, you're out of your mind. I'll tell you to your face. That's a problem. Now multiply. How many AOCs are in the government? There's a ton of them. She's just one. You have literally people in government that hate this country. How the fuck did they get there? We put them there because we didn't give a shit enough to figure out when it was time to vote. Now all of a sudden it's too late. And they have the platform and the voice and the current environment where people are like, "Oh my God, yeah, you hurt my feelings. So I'm gonna listen to them." And there we are. Here we are. Here we are. It's like do as I say, not as I do with those people. And it's interesting how that works. And people like us suffer.
Well, I'll add on to your statement there. For those that don't know what the word kayfabe means, look it up. Kayfabe still exists in the
Yeah,
world.
it does. Yeah.
It's more prominent now than it was years ago.
The old head fake.
In that regard. And I'll also say that with the American dream for any guy out there, I think you just got to do what makes you happy because your life, and I just read this morning, your life is like the morning fog. It's here for a little while and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
We can be consumed by the noise because I was watching news like crazy before, sucking on coffee like I've been doing because I love caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
And my anger levels went from here to about here. So the littlest thing would set me off and then I'd be mad for days because the news is very addicting. It's very addicting because then you start liking your personalities and you start you're around, again, that community of like-minded people that either think one way or think another way. And then it permeates into your relationships. And you talked about some of your relationships with your parents or your mom just went away after years because they differed politically. And I think for guys and girls, but I'll speak in guys in this frame of reference, you got to do what makes you happy. If you
Yeah.
like being a real estate executive or mogul, or you have a passion about real estate, then do it.
Do it.
If you have a passion for health and wellness, do it. Money will come. Remember, no one's guaranteed tomorrow, and we need to keep that in mind. So no matter what's going on in the world, no matter what craziness is out there, your life is like the morning fog. It's here today, it's here for a little while, and then it's gone. It's nuts. We talked about this before, just about death before we came on here. Like,
Yeah.
do I want to live in fear knowing that our country is slowly changing? I keep it in mind in what I do, but I'm also not going to stop living my purpose and passion. Now, we talked about this before. You got to have a backup plan, because nowadays Social Security is not going to be guaranteed when we're, next 20 years for us. Also, too, with these 55 and up communities, I can't wait. 9 more years, dude. I can't wait to get into a 55 and up community, right? And people joke, they're like, "Oh, some of these retirement homes, they have high STD rates." Yeah, so what? Let's go. No, kidding.
They actually do. It's fun.
Let's go. We're all older. We could croak tomorrow. Let's go have a good time, dude. Let's party like it's 2004. I'm in. But who knows, with those 55 and up communities, Greg, they might be, it might be affordable housing. You never know what can change. And I think it's important for men and women to realize life is short. We're only here for a brief time. And I'm really trying to focus on more things that are above me. You said that your American dream has changed because money's not really important to you now as it was 2 years ago.
Time is more money. Time means more to me.
Right. And because, your girls are growing up quick. They're already 5 and 3.
I know. Yeah.
So
every second I can, I'm with them.
Right. And that's important, especially for you fathers out there that are listening. Like, listen to Greg. Like, obviously you have to work to pay the bills. We're not saying,
of course,
but also it's important to set boundaries.
At what cost, though?
Exactly. What if you have to leave work early so you have dinner with your family 5 nights a week and have to work a little bit on the weekends? That family time during the week, you're not going to have it forever.
They're going to want nothing to do with you when they're older. You might as well do it now.
Well, I mean, they'll want something to do with you because you're cool.
Maybe.
But Greg, wrapping this thing up here, man, like, I guess we encompass the American dream in its different meanings, its different context, shape, and sizes. But I think the overarching theme is that the American dream is still there. It still has a pulse. It still has a beat. Final thoughts on how we can bring it fully back to life.
I don't think we can, dude. I know that's not what people want to hear. I know you have hope. I think it's virtually impossible to get it back fully the way it was. I don't think there's enough time in our lifetime to see that. We might be able to see it maybe change a little bit better. It takes so long. The same with like cities. You have a bad mayor or two. The city needs a decade at least once they're out to recover. 8 to 10 years, they say. That's a long time, man. Now we're talking about a country, not a city, with millions of citizens that all hate each other and are divided. And we're raising kids now that we're teaching them division is normal, not unity. Sorry, impossible. Unless there's a catastrophic event, like a real event where it's like somehow reset. But it's because there's no. So when they say generational trauma, it takes the one person in that family generation to stop the trauma. We're not doing that as a country because it's just there's all generations coming up now. This is normal. The division, the hate, Republican, Democrat, all this. It's they see every day the fight. They never see unity. They never see true patriotism where it's not judged. Impossible to recover from that, in my opinion. Unless you break off, like you always joke about, and make your own, secede and make your own, you know, city, state, country. That's not happening either. But I would love that. But I think it's impossible. Sorry.
The Free Republic of Florida sounds really good.
That state will turn eventually.
I say by 2030, but I digress. I think you're right. I do have hope in the American dream. I think, where, you've referenced people that provide the optics of having faith in God, having a relationship with God, like I think you're seeing that movement. And I
People
see
can
it on
see,
social
though, it's
media.
on trend. So you have to now be aware, is it real or is it fake? Because most
Right.
of it's fake, in my opinion. It's just a business trend. It's
I agree.
trendy for that shit. But it dilutes and it makes the cause even that much harder. And it makes people that actually are genuinely into it, number one, a target, but just not taken serious. And it's just there's no good that comes out of it.
Well, here's where I'll counterpoint you. I think because
Stay
it,
prayed
it
up.
might be out
Stay
there.
prayed up, Mike.
Right, exactly. Our favorite, our favorite celebrity there.
Stay
But
prayed
I
up.
also think that it's a conversation starter. So whether they believe it or not, the fact that you and I are bringing that up, it puts it out there, and I think you'll have more people that are intrigued to learn about that. And I would love that at some point we get back to our basics, right? Where we had, like obviously God bless America, they still play at the baseball games, but where we'd say the Pledge of Allegiance. We had to know the preamble to the Constitution, which I don't know. I forgot that, but I know we had to learn that. We stand for the flag. We honor our veterans. We love our country and get back to what our founding fathers built and understand like, hey, you can have life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but you know, respect the past, honor the present, and take that going forward. I really do believe that we can get back to the American dream. And I think it starts with having some type of faith, some type of spirituality, some type of connection with whatever you believe in, a higher power or whatnot. I'll say it, God. And I think, because God is in our currency, God's in our constitution, God's used throughout the
Trying to get
framework
rid
of
of
our building.
that, trying
Of
to
course they
change
are.
that. It's listen, I love that you're optimistic. I'm trying to be realistic here. No way. No way.
I think it'll take
Listen,
time.
history is important. And history of a country, almost any country, there is negative in it. Our country was founded horribly. We fucking stole it. And we basically killed all the people and like herded them up and said you're going to live here. It's bad history, but it's history. It is what it is. You don't have to start removing shit like Theodore Roosevelt on his horse with Indians below him in front of the Natural Museum of History in Manhattan. That statue's gone. You don't have to remove it, but people get so offended by, oh, it's wrong. It's this. It's right or wrong. It happened. You can learn from it, and there's a part of history. But I just think it's too far gone.
Well, I also think, on that note, like I wonder how some of these Jewish people feel when, you know, they're referencing Hitler a lot over the last couple of years. And I wonder how it makes them feel. I mean, I would be
Okay,
insulted,
here's the thing.
you
Great.
if
How do you feel? It doesn't matter how they
right,
feel because they haven't done shit about it. So you can feel whatever you want.
right,
It's either do something or just take it. Shut up and take it.
right.
And you see what they're doing. So then don't complain.
Look at the German people. The German people are awesome people, right? But were they, when you go, World War II is a part of their history. Japan's a part of their history. So, like, while some history is good and bad, like, why use that as a learning experience,
Mhm.
not as a way to say, hey, you know what, we're going to rewrite history because bombing Pearl Harbor was the right thing to do, and the Americans acted a certain way. What? Like, hey, you know what came out of it? We had years of great relationships with Japan, and a lot of the technology and the collaborations and the goodwill we had. But when you're trying to divide and conquer, goodwill is not part of the equation.
Nope.
So,
And here's the thing: the people that removed that statue,
Hmm.
whoever made the decision, it's not the people that physically removed it, but the people that sat in a room and made that decision, they probably, most of them or some of them, have kids. So how do you think those kids are going to feel? Probably the same way, because they're taught that, and they're going to hang out with kids like that. And it's like, it's just a cesspool of the same type of people.
I agree.
That's why I say that's, now we're talking the next generation, and then it continues now. No way. I do not have hope with that. For the love of God, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't have it, because I don't see it. People are weak now. No one will stop this.
Well, I pray that whatever happens in November,
It doesn't matter what happens in November.
well,
Bad things are going to
yeah,
happen either way.
that's what I'm
It just
saying.
it just depends on the scale of how bad it is,
And it's
and
gonna
the length
be
of how bad it's going to be. It's either going to be short or it's going to be a little dragged out.
well. It's funny because I am traveling to Washington like 4 days before the election, and I'm for a real quick trip, and I'm a little apprehensive because I don't know what the climate's going to be, but I know it's going to be intense. And I think we just have to stick together. I think we have to just be around like-minded people, and we just gotta you got to know what's going on, but you got to block out the noise because it'll consume you, and then you're going to be paralyzed from living your full life and living that American dream. If you believe in it, live it, good or bad. But you have that freedom as an American to do so.
Right now.
Speaking of freedom, Greggy T, if someone out there wants one-on-one time with you and wants to be mentored, as I said in your introduction, and they want to be guided and they want to be coached, where can someone find you?
The good old real estate industry that's going through its own. It's not even a big deal. But everyone's like, oh, it's the new laws that came down. It's not a big deal, everybody. Forever Progress, go to Instagram, go to foreverprogress.com, hit me up. It is not a big deal. It's business as always. You just have to be a little bit smarter, more buttoned up on how you approach and negotiate and talk to people. It is not that hard. We did it in Manhattan for a long time, and literally everybody's freaking out. And guess what? I just checked this morning. Houses are still going on the market and houses are still being sold.
Crazy, isn't it?
I mean, people are still doing business, so it might as well be you if you're an agent. If not, then find another job. Move along, exit left.
That's right. And if somebody wants an autograph 8x10 of you, they can go to your Instagram as well. Or if you want to send a friend of yours a cameo birthday message from Greggy T, you can go. Greg will send you a cameo video wishing you and your friends a happy birthday or happy anniversary. He's available for that, folks. If you can't get a hold of him, you get a hold of me. I will book him for your event, occasion, bar mitzvah, or bachelorette party, whatever it is. Greg will be there.
And Mike, go to Mike's OnlyFans. It's awesome.
Dude, I sell old computers, old iPads. Like, you'll get dry up contact lenses because I've been up for 48 hours working.
Man.
I've had OnlyFans back in the day.
Great business model. It's out of control.
I would have been bankrupt. But anyhow, yes. We got some good stuff coming up down the pike. Definitely as we step into the election season. Arguably, we talk about that it's the most important election of our lifetime. I really feel it's going to really dictate the course of our country, probably for the rest of our lives and generations to come. So, it's important for men and women to have knowledge out there and to vote not with emotion, but to vote with the facts. Whatever tickles your fancy. If you vote on both sides, good or bad. And our friend Corey's going to come back. Our friend Ford's going to come back for some insights, and really hope that people tune in and take their words of wisdom to heart.
We have some really smart people in this country. It's too bad that we can't figure out some of these big issues because it's not as easy as yes or no or illegal, not illegal in the state, or let the state handle it. There's so many different we need some smart people to take their time and figure solutions out that can appease the majority. You'll never appease everybody. There's always going to be somebody unhappy, but at least make an effort. We have smart people. I wish we would come together with some of the key issues, and it's just not going to happen.
But again, what is a key issue? Because it means different things to different people. So, things that I feel aren't important are being stressed to the forefront, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're seeing things that really, in the grand scheme of things, become a little, I don't know. I think our priorities are messed up, and we need to reprioritize, especially for men out there. We can't get sidetracked. I know we're going off a little bit, but we can't let social media sidetrack us from our goals. We can't let relationships or anything that happens to us sidetrack us. We got to stay focused on what we want, how you want to live. Remember, this is America. You have the right to live your life the way you see fit. It is not my place to judge. It's not Greg's place to judge. It's no one's place to judge. You have that freedom to live the life you want. Step into it and live it.
Last advice for men. Get a good woman. If you want to be with a woman, be with a real woman. A good, genuine, to the core, good woman. Time will tell all. And it's not always what you think it is. Be with a good woman. You'll fly. You just got to be with a good woman.
Sounds like a topic. Sounds like a topic for our next episode.
You both have to earn each other, but I'm talking specifically for the guys. She's got to earn it. She's not entitled to shit. She has to earn her seat at the table, just as you do. I want to be clear. I'm not just saying it's a one-way street. She has to earn her seat at your table.
A little foreshadowing of our next episode, Greg T.
Yeah.
That should be a good one.
Yeah.
To all of our listeners all over the world, thank you for supporting us. Click like and subscribe on our YouTube channel because it helps the logarithm, and every like and subscribes help us push out more great content. We've been a little behind on the reels because we're doing a little restructuring in our little thing that we have here. But when we do release reels, it's going to be a lot of good stuff, and it's going to be a lot. So I'm going to sign off from the free state of Florida. Greggy T, thank you always, sir, for your pearls of wisdom.
My pleasure. Be safe, everybody, and think before you act.
God bless.
Good night.